Hi everyone. So I'm just continuing my talk on the immigrant experience. I just got home from work. I'm making my supper and then I will sit down and relax, probably listen to the tennis. I'm still waiting for my system to be set up and running so I can hopefully learn and, then take some calls and get going with this new job that I'm doing. But I just wanted to touch a little bit today. We have Bono with us for another month before he steps down from the board for the One campaign. For me personally, it's very sad. I will always appreciate the opportunity he gave me to use my voice to be a representative for him on the One campaign in Canada as a parliamentary riding leader. And I think yesterday it hit me that Bono's going to be gone. I mean, he's not going to be on the board anymore with the One campaign, and I see they've changed things. Before, when you read what the One campaign, it was always just about Bono and his partner, lawyer, that got it going. And now they're talking more about all the other aid agencies and what they do. So I can't remember when this was, but a number of years ago, when I had first come to Canada, Chantal Herbert, when she used to talk on CBC, she used to talk about how the Islam militia were destabilizing places, and then how the US would go in and try to bring some normalcy to it. And this destabilization that she talked about, and she did say at that time, this is not going to stop. It's going to come into Europe, it's going to come into Canada, it's going to come into America. And at the time I was like, really? How are they going to do that? But it is happening now with migration, mass migrations. And what these people do is they go in, they can't get into power. So what they do is they recruit people, they abduct the girls, like they have been doing with Boko Haram, and they turn Christians into prostitutes. They say child brides, they might as well call us prostitutes, because they put you in a position, and when you're not Muslim, you're Hindu or you're Christian or you're a Muslim that doesn't believe in this, they put you in a position where you can't say no. And they hold women in these camps, they rape them, they don't feed them, they give them herbs to drink so that they get energy, and they make them work. So when I grew up in Zimbabwe, people can say whatever they like about Rhodesia. Okay, that is part of my history, and if you want to challenge me, please go ahead. The CBC reporters have done, and they have lost. I will hold a discussion with you on that. But when we went to school in Zimbabwe, we never feared going to school, being attacked, being raped, being taken out of class and kidnapped. We never feared that. We didn't have armed militia running around in cars and taking women like is happening in Israel now, like is happening in Nigeria now. And the money obviously is coming from the Arab nations and from Russia and all these places. So destabilize, what is happening in our country? You think all these Muslim MPs that are supporting Palestine and all that, you think they're doing it with the intention that they are going to build a just society for all of us? They have said very clearly that they are not. They are supporting their own Muslim communities. So a lot of the people I've met who have chosen to leave the Arab nations, to leave Egypt, to leave Nigeria, to leave Afghanistan, and they're here, they've left for that reason. Because as Catholics, they are being attacked, they are being destabilized. I mean, everyone wants money. Who wants to be poor? But the lengths they go to get their paradise and their islands and whatever else on the backs of slaves. And now I see the Human Rights Commission is talking about Palestine being under attack. But who started that? Boko Haram started in Nigeria, and Hamas started that in Israel. So quite frankly, as a Catholic, I'm sick of it. I don't know how this whole thing is going to unfold now that Bono's stepped down and he's going to be off the board. But I can tell you now, it was his voice that brought all of us into the One campaign. And over these next few months, many of us may not choose to stay with the One campaign. Many of us are waiting to see what it is they're looking to do, what it is they're looking to bring in. Because if they are going to just focus on Africa and the African voices and the African leadership, it's going to land up being a hypocrisy. Because if you look at what's happening in Nigeria now, 300 girls got taken into hostage situations from assembly this last week. Prior to that, there were 200 taken. Little girls. They're not bad Muslims. They were dressed in their hijab. They were wearing all whatever they had to wear. I mean, women are getting kidnapped on the roads in South Africa, in Nigeria, and yet their leaders are going to have ceremonies. They're flying all over the world. So what kind of Africa are we actually looking to build? What kind of Europe are we actually looking to build? What kind of Israel are we actually looking to build? What kind of Canada are we actually looking to build? I couldn't find that video of that talk that I watched on CBC, where the reporter gave that about the destabilization. So ultimately, what they want is to create a Muslim, I don't know what their term is, but a Muslim elite, and the rest of us are going to be slaves. Anyone that doesn't agree with them is going to be a slave, going to be doing minimum wage jobs, going to be not able to make ends meet, going to be living off debt, going to be, the minute you buy your house, they're going to let you go from your job. Knowing you have a family, you have an elder mother, you have children, they're going to wait. As soon as you buy your property, they're going to let you go. And please don't tell me that this is not being coordinated. I have heard it too many times from too many people. And Chantal was right. It's a destabilization of Western rule. And I mean, you know, the BRICS nations are working together, but what values do they actually have in common? Steal, kill, and destroy? Build mansion only for yourself? You can hate me for saying Rhodesia tried to come up and build everybody up slowly. Go ahead. My own family, my own mother, my own dad's brothers, when I told them that my situation was not getting better, was not my fault, they said to me, you should go back to Zimbabwe. It might be the only way because you are the problem. They told me. They didn't bother to keep in touch with me, to call me, to see how I am. They told me not to go and sponge off people. My aunt told me that. So when they came to America, they didn't have it as hard as we had it in Zimbabwe, whether it was in 1977 or after that. I've had campaigns where I had to go to work at 2 in the morning in Canada, just like my aunt, so they can't hold that over me and tell me that I'm ungrateful. They are ungrateful. They are the ones who are ungrateful, because without me being here, none of them would have had time with my mother. None of them would have gotten to see her or spend time with her, and yet they left me out of everything. All the family gatherings, all the birthdays, all the Christmases, I was left out. I was just completely ignored and excluded. I didn't do anything to hurt them. I mean, if people love you, if people appreciate you and value your life, they will say to you, do not go back to Zimbabwe, stay here. We'll try to help you. We'll try to talk to people. We'll try to find out what we can do. Nobody helped me. Nobody, not one of them sent a resume out for me, talked to their friends, said, I know I've got a niece, or I've got somebody in Canada, she's been working in banking in contracts and she can't get anything permanent. None of them did that for me. So at the end of the day, I would have gone back to Zimbabwe, and then what? They were willing to have me do that. They were willing to have me return to Zimbabwe, and whatever happens, happens. I mean, it took a long, long time for me to understand what the police were telling me. They said anybody who loved you would not treat you this way, would not tell you go back to Zimbabwe. So, I mean, for the first time I saw news that there's a sect in Zimbabwe that kidnap children. That is not our culture. That is not the Zimbabwe culture. So, for me, it's very disturbing to see what is happening and to see there are mass protests all over the world for Palestine. They are taking the women and raping them. They are taking the women and babies and killing them. They are having sex with the Israeli women and cutting off their breasts and videoing it and sending it to their parents. I mean, what kind of a world are people building? I sat and I cried yesterday. It finally hit me. Belinda, Bono's gone. This is it. That's why I asked him to come for his book tour. He couldn't come. I don't know what the limitations were. He didn't come. But that was our last opportunity. It's killing me. It's killing me. And the church is not standing up to it. They're putting the Muslims in the leadership positions. So forgive me for having a faith that's Christian. I am sick of it. How can you watch the news and not have your heart break? For any child, any woman to be kidnapped and have her breast cut off, and they're having sex and sending it to their parents and boasting. How sick is it? How sick does society have to get before our church gives a damn?